All right, I'm going to try to make this video a lot faster than the last one. I forgot a few things that when I was talking about the things I didn't like about 5th edition. Like, as soon as I stopped recording, I was like, I forgot about these things. What it really comes down to is the DMing experience. Number one, there's just a lot of missing rules that you expect to be there in a gaming system that aren't there. And as a result, the DM has to make rulings on it. The DM has to try to anticipate problems with those rulings. It's just a lot of extra mental load on the DM. And whenever you can, when you're designing a RPG like this, you have to try to reduce the load on the DM to make it as easy to run as possible. Because they've got so many plates that they have to spin that you can't do anything about. Why make it harder, right? So missing rules. I'll give you a quick example. I recently found out there's no forced movement rules in 5th edition. They've got push effects. They've got pull effects. They've got no rules to cover it. As it turns out, like, I had been sort of subconsciously importing 4th edition's forced movement rules without even realizing it. I thought it was 5th edition's forced movement rules. And I did. Anyways, so like, the game system is just completely silent on so many things that it really should have an opinion on. You know, like, it has rules that reference things that don't exist elsewhere in the rules. So that's number one, missing rules. Number two, the DMing advice in the DMG, it makes the game a lot more complicated than it needs to be. When it comes to designing adventures and campaigns, there's a pretty complicated set of math that you have to do to balance out the encounters that you have for the day. Your XP budget is what it calls it. Because like, when you have multiple monsters, that changes the difficulty, but it doesn't change the XP granted. There isn't a like set assumed number of enemies, and so I think it's been a long time since I read it. You have to like multiply the XP value of the enemies in an encounter by a certain value based on the number of bodies in the encounter. And then, so that's per encounter, and you have to make sure every encounter isn't too difficult or too easy. But also, you have a daily XP budget, which is about the difficulty of the number of monsters that a party can handle over the course of a day. Because it's going to be spending resources, they're going to be losing hit points, spending spell slots, things like that. So you have to calculate that in, and that's very inflexible. Just a quick aside, that people like to cite, 6 to 8 encounters a day. It's not 6 to 8 encounters a day. You really have to like eyeball this and customize it to your specific party at their specific level. Because there's no way a 1st to 3rd level party is getting through 6 to 8 encounters a day. They will die. There's just no way. Conversely, like, you get up to the tier 3, tier 4, and like, the casters are only half out of spell slots by the time they get through 6 to 8 encounters. Like, it's... You can't just take a static number because of the way that resources scale in 5th edition. So you have that difficulty. But even if you could go by the book, which you can't, that is a very rigid way to structure an adventure. There's so many narrative reasons why you might have one encounter in the day, or why you might be unable to take a rest over an extended period of time, and so you have a lot more. And the system doesn't really allow you to do that. It's like, you have to have this relatively narrow window of encounters at a specific difficulty each, or else it's too easy or too hard. It's very inflexible, and that makes it very difficult to design adventures as a DM. And Wizards of the Coast has said, I think it was an official statement from somebody, probably Jeremy Crawford on Twitter, I would imagine, that like, they have a DM problem. Like, there aren't enough DMs. Not only not enough DMs to cover the players, but also DMs apparently like make the majority of purchases for their tables. Like, they're much more likely to buy a new book. And so that's why that they're having this DM problem is because they have made the game incredibly hard to run. 5th edition, with only one exception, which is 3rd edition, is the most difficult RPG to run that I have ever run. I've only done it in a very limited amount because I very much did not like it. So I started playing in 3rd edition and then moved into 4th, and I got so spoiled on 4th edition's DMing tools. It is so easy to run 4th edition, and it is so much harder to run 5th for no reason. Like, they had good math, and they messed it up. Oh, man. It frustrates me. It frustrates me because when you have a solution and then you remove the solution for no benefit, that's insanity to me as from like a game design perspective. So anyways, those are the other things. The things that I forgot, quick notes on those. They are more important, I think, than the player experience. Because without a DM, you have no game. I will never run a 5th edition game. I have run a few, like I tried to run a campaign very briefly. It didn't go more than like a couple of months. And then like I set it aside, like I'm never going to run this game. I run other games. I run a lot of like no prep games, Blades in the Dark, Powered by the Apocalypse, things like that. And light prep games. Even the heaviest prep game that I run, which is Legend of the Five Rings, it's so much easier. It's so much easier than 5th edition. And a big part of that comes down to the DMing tools and the way that the amount of work that they expect you to put into it. Yeah. So that is, I may come up with other things in the future that I don't like about 5th edition, but they're going to be relatively minor, so I'm not going to make extra videos about it. I'm done talking about this particular topic. So I'll see y'all next time.